This video is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service dedicated to elevating great cinema from all around the globe. Get a whole month free at mubi.com/moderngirls. How Zendaya became a superstar. Since getting her start on the Disney Channel, Zendaya has slowly and steadily built up her reputation in Hollywood, with all of that hard work coming to a head in 2026, where she starred in 5 separate projects, including what are sure to be the 3 biggest blockbusters of the year: The Odyssey, Spider-Man Brand New Day, and Dune Part 3. But she was hardly an overnight success, and you definitely can't chalk up her current popularity to sheer dumb luck. Every part of her career has been carefully engineered by her team, and her long-term stylist, Roach, has been a huge factor in her success, helping get her on best dressed lists since she was a teenager and turning method dressing from a niche red carpet gimmick into a promotional strategy that every other actor is trying to recreate. Today we'll be examining how fashion turned Zendaya from a Disney darling into a certified superstar, while also attempting to answer the question, why does an actress's clothing have so much impact on her career anyway? Let's get into it. In 2009, Zendaya auditioned for the Disney Channel sitcom Shake It Up, landing the lead role alongside Bella Thorne. It began airing the next year and followed 2 best friends who get their dream job as background dancers for a local TV show and then have to navigate fame and the usual adolescent drama. It capitalized on the mainstream dance trend that gave us So You Think You Can Dance and the Step Up franchise, but with a distinctly Disney Channel twist that charmed fans of Hannah Montana and Camp Rock. The early 2010s were a transitional time for the network. Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, Demi Lovato, and the Jonas Brothers were all aging out in favor of more mature projects, leaving Zendaya as one of the new faces of Disney Channel alongside Debbie Ryan, Bridget Mendler, China Anne McClain, and Laura Moreno. The network was still following its old formula, cross-promoting its stars across TV and music to lock down the tween demographic, and Zendaya, a certified triple threat who could sing, dance, and act, was exactly the kind of star they wanted to hitch their wagon to. She first worked with Roach in 2011 for the premiere of Justin Bieber's Never Say Never concert film. At the time, Law was running his vintage boutique in Chicago, which had gone viral back in 2009 after Kanye West was spotted shopping there, and he and the then 14-year-old Zendaya eventually connected through a mutual friend, developing an instant bond. Working with a limited budget and resources in those early years, Zendaya's style swung between business casual for formal events and streetwear for everything else. At no point did Law ever dress her sexy, which was a relief after all of the other Disney Channel scandals of the era, and their emphasis on age-appropriate style signaled how seriously she took her job as a role model. In 2013, Shake It Up reached its conclusion, and not wanting her skills to get rusty, she immediately joined Dancing with the Stars, becoming their youngest contestant at the time at 16. She performed well, finishing in second, and while some would argue that the show is for has-beens and Z-listers, for Zendaya, it introduced her to an audience who might not have been familiar with her earlier work. Immediately afterwards, she embarked on the Swag It Out tour to promote her debut album. And as the name suggests, she dressed very swaggy. This might have been manifestation on her and Law's part, as Zendaya was lobbying for a role in an Aaliyah biopic at the time. She was eventually cast in the project, but dropped out after finding the production value lacking, which might have been one of the smartest choices of her career, with the film receiving extremely negative reviews. Perhaps unsure of what her future held, Zendaya returned to the Disney Channel for Casey Undercover in 2015, but her name recognition and industry relationships were already leaps above her peers. She was sitting front row at New York Fashion Week, attending the Met Gala, and starring in the music video for Taylor Swift's Bad Blood. But it was an appearance on the Oscars red carpet that gave her her first real viral pop culture moment, with Juliana Rancic making racially charged comments about her hair on Fashion Police. This sparked widespread backlash, which Zendaya responded to perfectly, and her poise in the face of such ignorance was remarkable for a high schooler. 2016 kept the momentum going, and she landed a CoverGirl campaign, guest judged Project Runway, launched her own clothing line, and appeared in Beyoncé's All Night video. Meanwhile, Law was expanding his own client list to include the likes of Celine Dion, Ariana Grande, and Tiffany Haddish, and he even joined America's Next Top Model as a judge alongside Rita Ora, Ashley Graham, and Drew Elliott, a lineup that is honestly baffling, and it's no surprise that the show was cancelled shortly after. With her name recognition steadily growing, Zendaya finally began branching out beyond Disney, landing MJ in Spider-Man: Homecoming and a role in The Greatest Showman. The 2017 musical marked her first real attempt at method dressing, with Law putting her in outfits that pulled directly from the film's themes. There were circus-inspired colors, ringmaster chic suits, and silhouettes that hinted at flight and transformation. She wasn't anywhere near the top of the film's call sheet, but this bold red carpet strategy forced her into the conversation, and anywhere Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman were, she probably was too. She solidified herself as a fashion force in 2018, appearing on several high-profile magazines, being tapped as an ambassador for Tommy Hilfiger, and going viral for her Joan of Arc-inspired outfit at that year's Met Gala, which is still one of my favorite looks of hers. She left the Disney Channel behind for good in 2019 with HBO's Euphoria, a gritty teen drama that had Zendaya playing a very different type of character than people were used to. And even if you aren't a fan of the show, you can't say that she didn't give an amazing performance. The role eventually won her 2 Emmys for Best Actress, the youngest person to ever do so, and it no doubt brought her to the attention of a much more serious crowd of filmmakers. Like most of the industry, she took a pandemic-era break, later admitting in interviews that after years of non-stop work, the pause left her with a bit of an identity crisis. When she came back in 2021, she returned with a vengeance. Space Jam, Dune, and Spider-Man: No Way Home all got the method dressing treatment, reintroducing her to a public that hadn't seen her on a red carpet in a while, and reminding everyone that she could absolutely deliver on the fashion forefront. Law deserved all of the praise he received for these looks, winning the inaugural Stylist Award at the CFDAs and getting named The Hollywood Reporter's top stylist. The next few years were quieter as far as red carpets were concerned, with Zendaya being tied up with various filming responsibilities. This allowed Law to explore other creative endeavors, eventually becoming a judge for RuPaul's Drag Race and Project Runway, turning him into his own independent media personality. At the same time, he also started making headlines, although the coverage was less positive than it had been in the past, often insinuating that his work with other clients wasn't what they'd expected.
And one day she called me, she said, "You may be the best stylist in the world, but you ain't the best stylist for me." Oh.
This eventually culminated in him announcing his retirement in 2023, claiming that he was worn down by years of industry politics, but he later clarified that Zendaya was an exception, with their bond being closer to that of a pair of siblings rather than co-workers. With Zendaya sidelined by filming at the time, Margot Robbie and her stylist Andrew McConnell ran away with the method dressing crown, with the press tour for the Barbie movie going above and beyond pink dresses and pulling looks directly from the doll's history. It was during the Barbie press tour that the term method dressing was coined, with many in the fashion and film industry calling it the marketing strategy of the year, crediting Margot Robbie's commitment to promoting the film in fashionable looks as a major factor in its billion-dollar box office numbers. Now, to be clear, Zendaya and Law Roach had in no way invented method dressing, with Elle Fanning, Cara Delevingne, and Blake Lively all adopting it in the early 2010s. But Zendaya was the most consistent about using the strategy, and having it be credited to Barbie of all things must have stung. In response, she and Law swung back hard with Dune Part 2 and Challengers in 2024. The two films are on opposite sides of the spectrum, a futuristic blockbuster and a tennis dramedy, but she gave her all to promoting both, traveling all over the world, and sometimes wearing several outfits in a single day, and never once did we see her complain about it. Mubi is a curated streaming service dedicated to elevating great cinema from all around the globe. From iconic directors to emerging auteurs, there's always something new to discover. With Mubi, each and every film is hand-selected by its team of curators. Discover the best of cinema at your fingertips. Zendaya isn't the only celebrity to use method dressing as a marketing strategy, with Demi Moore paying homage to the body horror genre while promoting her Oscar-nominated role in The Substance in 2024. Directed by Coralie Fagia, the film explores the societal pressures surrounding women's bodies and the fear of aging. Moore's character is an ex-film star who turns to a black market drug to create a younger, more perfect version of herself, which results in disastrous consequences. The film's visuals are equally beautiful and bizarre, with Moore referencing them in her method dressing wardrobe. This included exaggerated silhouettes that reference the deformation of the human body, corsets that mimic the look of surgical scars and exposed spines, and patterns that resembled blood spatter and unblinking eyes. And just like many of the films in Mubi's catalog, her outfits were definitely award-worthy. You can try Mubi free for 30 days at mubi.com/moderngurlz. That's mubi.com/moderngurlz for a whole month of great cinema for free. In 2026, method dressing is practically expected of Zendaya, with everyone from her fans to her co-stars waiting with bated breath for what her next look will be.
I want to buy a ticket every night and bring some popcorn. It is truly just spectacular.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Her outfits draw so much organic promotion for the films that I wouldn't be surprised if they're negotiated into her contract, no doubt adding a couple million to her asking rate. Zendaya has insisted that she wants to method dress, not only because she enjoys expressing herself through fashion, but because she genuinely wants people to watch these movies. And if that means wearing a pair of angel wings, so be it. She's well aware of the fact that the average person isn't watching red carpet coverage on Entertainment Tonight anymore. They're scrolling on their phone and looking at whatever photo their algorithm feeds them. And sometimes that photo might be just enough to convince them to buy a ticket. Because Zendaya is the one walking the red carpet and giving all of the interviews, it's easy to overlook how big a part of the puzzle Roach is, but he's right by her side for every part of the process, from coming up with the looks to tucking in a stray hair when she walks the carpet. He's not just dressing his boss, he's helping a friend bring her vision to life. Most stylists are invisible to not take away attention from the star, but Law wants you to know how involved he is, and he isn't shy about all of the work that goes into creating a perfect look. He's said in interviews that his approach to method dressing is all about building a specific image, telling a story, and helping Zendaya step into character even after they've called cut. None of their red carpet moments happen without a level of trust that's uncommon between a celebrity and their stylist. Zendaya and Law have been doing this since she was 14 years old, which means he's had a hand in literally every version of her public identity, from Disney kid to Met Gala mainstay to award-winning actress. That continuity is what's let them build something that has changed the way that all of Hollywood markets their films, and it's the same reason she's been booked and busy for years. Studios love working with her because she's down to play ball. She shows up, does the work, and then a year later convinces people to buy a ticket. That's the kind of reliability that gets you hired over and over again. The success of Law and Zendaya's collaborations also means that they have leverage most stylist-client pairs never get close to, with some designers holding onto a gown for years just so Zendaya can be the one to debut it, or pulling a piece straight off a runway model so she can wear it that very same day. These brands aren't giving them handouts. They're acknowledging the strength of Zendaya's star power and just how much value she provides by showing up somewhere in one of their designs. She's so sought after that Law is able to pick and choose who they work with, and he's made a point of avoiding brands who spurned them in the past, only renewing the relationship when it's most beneficial. Some might call that petty, I call it good business, and damn, business is good, with Zendaya being the face of several luxury brands including Louis Vuitton, Rolex, and if rumors are to be believed, Prada Beauty. Method dressing used to be a fun Easter egg. Now it's an expected part of any major press tour, to the point where an actor showing up in something generic is seen as a missed opportunity. Zendaya became a superstar long before she had the filmography to back it up, because as they say, she dressed for the job she wanted to have. Her clothing allows her to grab the public's undivided attention, and every time one of her red carpet moments goes viral, it just solidifies how powerful her entire brand identity is. Her work with Law has left an immeasurable impact on the entire fashion and film industry, and whether or not people know his name, he took a stylist job description and expanded it into something closer to marketing director. This is still just the beginning of Zendaya's career. After all, she isn't even 30 yet, and as long as she and Roach stick together, they're a winning combination, at the box office and on the red carpet. What's your favorite Zendaya and Roach fashion moment? I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!